Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is MJ Pinky, and today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about NaNoWriMo and if it's even worth doing. So NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month. It happens every November, beginning on the 1st of November to the 30th of November. There's a website that you can go and sign up. There's like a winner if you're able to actually finish your novel during NaNoWriMo. I've never actually registered for NaNoWriMo on the website. I've only ever just done it on my own. But the goal is to write a 50,000 word novel during the month of November, and that adds up to about 1,700 words a day. I know a couple people who have successfully done this, and I have done it twice myself with varying degrees of success. I'm just going to talk about my experience with NaNoWriMo and let you decide if that's something that you want to do or if it's worth the effort to do it. There's some pros and cons from my experience. So in 2020, I finished a rough draft during NaNoWriMo. I had already written about 20 chapters before I even started NaNoWriMo, so I wasn't trying to do the competition. I was just trying to finish the novel and write 50,000 words. I finished another 30 chapters or so during NaNoWriMo and in the following December. If memory serves, I think I wrote about 30,000 words during the month of November, and then maybe another 25,000 words in December. But by the end of the year, I had finished a rough draft of my novel. So then in 2021, I decided that rather than write a new story, I was going to try and edit 50,000 words that I had written the previous Nano. I did a live stream every single day during the month of November for 2021, where I was actually physically sitting down and editing. So if you are interested in viewing those, they are up on my channel. That was actually, I think, really successful for me because I was able to go back and I think I edited 23 chapters. Obviously, writing 50,000 words is a lot. You have to dedicate a lot of time to doing that, and it can be very, very stressful. And I know a lot of people who start off really, really strong and they get like 2 weeks into it, and then, you know, it just kind of drops off because also in November is Thanksgiving. A lot of people are traveling. A lot of people have to clean their house and get ready for guests and, you know, shop and do all of these things. And so there's a lot competing for your time in November that isn't really competing for your time at other parts of the year. Keep that in mind. The time constraints are ridiculous. And if you miss a day or you don't meet your word count for that day, then it's just really stressful trying to make up that word count. So the pros. So the writing community during November is amazing. Everybody is super pumped. They're super supportive. They all have goals. They're ready to go right on day one of NaNoWriMo, and that energy is so, it's just magical. So that awesome energy, and then, you know, you have this focus too, like you set a goal, you are dedicating time during the month of November to do this. It's in your head, you're wanting to do it. You know, you have your support community behind you who are doing it with you, and it's just a really magical time for writers, and it's amazing. It's great. Twitter blows up with it. You know, like I said, you can register on the official NaNoWriMo website, and then you can have all that support as well, or just start writing with a group of friends who are all writers. Whatever your method is, the community is alive during November. So I was also able to focus. I had that accountability. And even though it took me into December, I did finish my novel. The other good thing I found just because of the way that I write and I stress over every little sentence. I didn't have time to get hung up on how a sentence was phrased, which has its drawbacks as well, which I'll discuss next. But not having that time to get hung up on sentence phrasing helped me move on and keep writing the story, rather than get frustrated that it's not sounding right or it's not saying exactly what I want, and then just getting distracted and going and doing something else, and then not writing again for the rest of the day or several days. That wasn't allowed to happen during NaNoWriMo. You had to just kind of put a pin in it, accept that it wasn't perfect, and then move on and keep going. So I think that was really good in a lot of ways, because like I said, with my system of writing, I tend to get hung up on how something's worded, because I'm really nitpicky about things, about my own writing. And so not being able to do that during NaNoWriMo was a plus for me. Some of the cons. Most of the chapters that I wrote had to be completely rewritten, with maybe the exception of like maybe 4. And that's really being generous. None of the chapters were quality, because they were poorly written. I had rushed through them trying to keep that momentum. Not being nitpicky over my sentences was a con in itself, even though it was also a benefit. Like I was able to move the story along and not have such a gap in my writing because of it. But at the same time, because I didn't have time to be a little bit more nitpicky over some things, the quality of the writing was really poor. Most of the chapters had to be rewritten because I had written them in the wrong point of view to begin with. My book has 5 main characters. When I was rush writing during NaNoWriMo, I didn't choose the correct POV a lot of times. I didn't think about which character would have the greatest impact for this chapter, which character has the most to lose for this chapter. None of those things were really, none of those things I was really able to strategize because I didn't have time to. I was just focused on pounding out words and moving the plot along as quickly as possible. And I wasn't really able to focus on who does this chapter really need to be from. So I had to rewrite a lot of chapters just because the POV was wrong. And then the plot needed tweaking too much. Either because I didn't strategize what was really happening, or because as I started writing so quickly, I realized that there were a lot of plot holes that I didn't think were going to be plot holes, but the muse was just taking me in a different direction. And so by the end of it, there were so many little plot things that needed to be changed. So that was another reason why a lot of the chapters had to be rewritten. When you don't have time to think about why this chapter is happening, you end up with a lot of filler chapters. And so when you are rush writing, they're not, economized very well in those situations, to develop character or plot or foreshadowing or any of those more detail, more technical oriented things that your story needs. So you end up with unusable chapters. Those are the cons. Those are the biggest cons. Now, I was able to finish a draft that I could loosely base my edits on. So it was still good that I was able to write all of that and finish a draft. So looking back, how going forward, how I plan to use NaNoWriMo. If you're okay with rushing through a draft of something and you're just trying to get something down, by all means, NaNoWriMo is great. It was really beneficial. I'm not downplaying the benefits of writing new content for NaNoWriMo at all. However, if you do that, just be aware that your book is not in any way, shape, or form going to be finished. Um, a lot of edits will be needed. Be prepared to have to rewrite a significant amount of chapters and words. It's bare bones. You're getting the bare bones there, and then you can go back and add some muscle tissue and some skin, and some vital organs and things like that. That's the best analogy I can think of right now to describe writing new content for NaNoWriMo and what it actually translates to in the book writing process. 2021, when I started editing that content that I had written the previous year, and that was actually really, really, really beneficial. Because again, I had all those same pros that I had had in 2020. I had the support community. I had all this great energy. I had everyone focusing on writing. I had that accountability. I had that time carved out, especially for writing, that I was able to really focus on and be like, nope, November's for writing. I'm writing. And because I was editing and not writing new content, I was less concerned about how many words I was getting done and more concerned about quality. So the time that I was actually devoting to NaNoWriMo, I was doing it in a quality way that I hadn't done it the year before when I was writing. So for me, using NaNoWriMo as a conduit for producing quality edits was far more beneficial than using it to complete a novel. I think I'm going to spend the year writing the novel in a slower, more quality controlled way. And then when NaNoWriMo comes around, I am going to be using that for editing, and for focusing my attention on doing that. And so I think by me setting that yearly cycle, maybe I can produce a quality book every year with that method. That would be awesome. I guess we'll find out next year how that works. So that's my experience with NaNoWriMo, doing it 2 different ways. Do it. It's an experience. It's worth it. Keep at it. If you don't make that word count, big deal. You made progress. So anyways, I hope you found this beneficial and insightful. Please subscribe, and I will see you guys in a future video. Happy writing.